you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, and welcome to the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the like and share. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. So this week is obviously Super Bowl 56 week, and I couldn't be more excited. We have two great teams headed for a pretty solid matchup. The Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium, which is home to the Rams, but apparently the Rams don't get home field advantage. You got to pick a home team for the Super Bowl, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. Don't know why they did that, but at the same time, I kind of understand because Rams-Niners, okay, it was more of a Niners home game than it was a Rams home game. I think that was the case pretty much the entire season. So their fan base really non-existent at this point. I'm sure it'll grow, especially if they end up beating the Bengals in this year's Super Bowl. I think their fan base will kind of continue to grow and get bigger as time goes forward. They moved from St. Louis not too long ago, a couple years ago, and they were once the Los Angeles Rams at one point. Moved to St. Louis, then they moved back to Los Angeles, had a whole spiel with the NFL, like their owner, Stan Kroenke, or whatever his name is. I know his last name's Kroenke. Pretty much screwed over the city of St. Louis, moved them before a contract was up or something like that. Ended up paying had to pay the city of St. Louis for the reparations and leaving and stuff like that. So this is the Super Bowl, Bengals, Rams. I couldn't be more excited, but Super Bowl week is kind of it's a fun week, all right? But it's also a week where there's really not much going on other than the Bengals and the Rams players kind of having their interviews or their media time, talking to different personalities, different people, getting questions answered, like, what does it feel like being in the Super Bowl for the first time in your career, Mr. Joe Burrow? Feels fucking awesome, okay, if you ask me. So there's a lot of that going on. As I have just kind of learned, the Bengals actually did just get into Los Angeles earlier today. So they're getting ready to rock and roll. They had to practice at the Cincinnati Bearcats. Yes, the Cincinnati Bearcats college football team indoor facility, because the Bengals are the only team in the NFL without an indoor practice facility. So yes, they've been practicing out in the freezing cold for quite some time, under a highway, next to a fucking steel mill, whatever the hell is the case, or a concrete or cement place. I don't even know what it is. But they don't have an indoor practice facility, so they had to practice at their college's indoor practice facility, try to work with other schedules, like the lacrosse team, some intramural teams, and stuff like that. They got it done. They flew out to Los Angeles. They're there. They're ready to play the game starting Sunday. I believe the kickoff, might be at 5:30. I'd have to check into that. I haven't really looked into it too much because, this Super Bowl is one of the Super Bowls where I'm just kind of like, I don't care who wins. And yes, I know I'm a Vikings fan, but that's not the reason why I don't care who wins. It's because, the Vikings aren't in there, but that's not the case. I don't care who wins this Super Bowl because I think it's a really good opportunity for both franchises to kind of establish themselves, and a couple players to establish themselves as, towards the top of the league, greater athletes in this game. For instance, the Rams, Matthew Stafford, I would love for the Rams to win. I think they deserve it, but not as much as Matthew Stafford deserves to win a Super Bowl. I mean, being in Detroit for as long as he was, no playoff victories. I think he had one playoff appearance or maybe two, and it didn't go his way. I think it'd be, kind of full circle for Matthew Stafford to win a Super Bowl and kind of prove to, not only myself, but I think many fans around the world that, look, the Detroit Lions, they fucking stink, right? They're not that good at all. They're definitely cursed, and I think that curse kind of goes all the way back to Bobby Lane, okay, or Night Train Lane, or not, I think it was Bobby Lane, or Dick Night Train Lane, or whatever his name was. People think it's the Calvin Johnson curse because they didn't pay him his money. I don't think that's the case, because if you think about it, Barry Sanders was a Lion. He only made it to the playoffs, I believe, a handful of times, maybe twice, 3 at the most. I think he only had 1 win, and that was it. He exited early from the playoffs, never seen it again, and I think he was pissed about that whole scenario. He retired after 10 seasons, just like Calvin Johnson did. So the curse, I think, has started a long time ago, and that's why the Lions are not that great, and I'm glad, okay, that they're in the NFC North Division. So today, basically, what we're going to kind of talk about and dive into is we'll talk briefly on Alvin Kamara and his situation, what happened at the Pro Bowl or before the Pro Bowl took place. He ended up getting arrested afterwards. We'll talk about that just a little bit to kind of give you a little bit more information on what we're kind of looking at here and going forward, I should say. Other than that, look, the Tennessee Titans extended both their GM and head coach, Mike Vrabel. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to dive into what the fuck is Kyler Murray doing right now, okay, on social media. It's kind of weird what he's doing with his Instagram, okay. We'll dive into that a little bit, kind of give you my opinion, what to think and what not to think, and maybe what might happen going forward. Not really sure, but I hope you guys are ready, because I'm ready. So are you ready to get your fix? That was kind of weird how I said that, but who gives a shit, right? This is my show. This is my platform, I guess, if you will. You get it. All right. So let's start right off the bat with Alvin Kamara. Actually, before we get to anything football related, I got a little. How do you want to say this? I got a little bone to pick with the MLB. So we learned a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that Barry Bonds was not elected to the Hall of Fame, the baseball or the MLB Hall of Fame, and he will not be eligible for the Hall of Fame ever again. Okay, because I guess there's a time period, why? Okay, why the fuck do we have a time period to make it into the Hall of Fame? That seems a little ridiculous to me, anyways. I mean, the NFL doesn't have one. I'm sure that it's just stupid. But I seen this on my mixtapes. So I don't know why they did this, but it seems legit. They're pretty good. They have a pretty good following. So I decided to kind of take a little screenshot. I'll read you off what this is and what it says. It says, the MLB is not testing for steroids after their joint drug agreement expired. MLB and the MLBPA first agreed to the testing program in 2002. According to CBS, the owners locked out the players immediately upon the CBA's expiration. There has been no drug testing in place for 2 months now. Testing for performance-enhancing drugs and other banned substances under Major League Baseball's joint drug agreement has stopped during the owners' lockout. So if you guys don't know, there's a lockout currently happening with the MLB. Who knows if we're going to have baseball this season? I hope we do. But apparently they can't fucking pay everybody because they give out stupid, ridiculous contracts. There is not a cap space in Major League Baseball like there is in the NFL. So they can kind of go around that a little bit, give these guys massive amounts of money without any repercussions. But now there's repercussions. There's a lockout. The MLB Players Association is kind of like, we want our money. And the MLB is like, oh, good luck. Because we don't have that money. Because COVID did a number on them and stuff like that. But, again, maybe a cap space might help a little bit. So the JDA expired at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 1st, the same time as the collective bargaining agreement. It is the first time in roughly 20 years baseball has not had a drug testing program in place. So, if you're not testing for steroids for the first time in 20 years, give Barry Bonds his fucking Hall of Fame jacket. Give Pete Rose his Hall of Fame jacket and multiple others. I believe can't remember the guy's name. He was a pitcher, did really, really well. Pitched for the Red Sox. I don't know why his name is slipping my mind, but give these guys their Hall of Fame jackets. They deserved it. How I look at Hall of Fames, NFL, NHL, MLB, I mean all MLS, all these different Hall of Fames that we could have. When I look at Hall of Fames, if I'm picking a Hall of Famer, the one thing I've said and the one thing I've still believed to this day is, can you tell the story of baseball without said person? Can you tell the story of baseball without mentioning Barry Bonds, who leads or has the most home runs in Major League Baseball history? Can you tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose, who has, I think, the most hits in MLB history? You can't. It's just like the NFL. Can you tell the story of the NFL without Tom Brady? He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm just giving you an example. No, you can't. So he's legitimately a Hall of Famer. I get, at the same time, if they don't have the accolades, if they don't have, what it takes, or the, what is it called? The, I guess, not really accolades, but it's like, have they made it to a couple Pro Bowls? Have they made it to a Super Bowl? Or like for MLB, have they, made it to the postseason? What did they do hitting-wise and stuff like that? If they have the accolades in line, they're definitely it should be in conversation for the Hall of Fame, just like Barry Bonds. Okay, just like Pete Rose and all these other guys that got caught cheating and all these scandals and stuff. Who gives a shit? Pete Rose went and bet on himself. And he still did phenomenal. Hey, I don't see anything wrong with it. I get that these players can't, go out there and gamble and sports bet and all that stuff. But if you're betting on yourself, if you're like, you know what? I'm going to go out there, I'm going to bat at 350, okay, for the whole season. I'm going to have 40 home runs, 40 plus home runs. I'm going to have so many RBIs, so many of this. And you go bet on yourself. That holds you accountable. Home runs are hard to do. Play baseball is hard to do. You have like fucking 0.4 seconds to decide whether or not you're going to hit the ball, or whether or not you're going to swing, whether or not you think it's a strike or a ball. Give them their jackets if you're not testing for these steroids, which I'd assume they're going to have some type of program put in place, or drug testing program put in place, especially after this lockout is done and over with, because they have to get them the players their money. And that's what the MLBPA, from what I've kind of heard and what I've kind of pieced together, is that's what they're fighting for. We want our money and we want it now, basically, like the general. Okay, so I don't know. I think Barry Bonds definitely deserves it. Yeah, he juiced up, but who isn't? Okay, the only reason that we look at Barry Bonds because of his steroid use is because he hit set amount of home runs, 700 plus. A ridiculous amount of home runs, and just phenomenal what he was able to do. Okay, out there. That's the only reason we look at it. But I bet you, I'll put $100 down right now. We couldn't figure it out, but I guarantee you, multiple, not just Barry Bonds, multiple, Sammy Sosa, what's his name? Mark, from St. Louis Cardinals. You gotta understand what I'm talking about. But multiple players have used them, and they're not looked at like in the same way. But all because Barry Bonds has the MLB home run record in history, we look at him like he cheated. Yeah, I get it. He did cheat a little bit. But it's still fucking hard to do what he did. You still have to hit the ball just right. You have to hit the sweet spot. You have to do all that nonsense. I believe he deserves his MLB jacket. Let's get to football, though. Alvin Kamara, we talked about this yesterday briefly. Basically, at the Pro Bowl or before the Pro Bowl, him and a bunch of buddies got together. They were at a club or a nightclub. They were getting on an elevator. Some dude tried to get on the elevator with them. Alvin Kamara kind of reached out and said there's not enough room. Put his hand on the guy. The guy fucking threw his hand off. Alvin Kamara said, huh? Oh, okay. Not today. Just see you later. How you doing? Keep it moving. Him and his buddies beat the crap out of this dude. The guy went to the hospital, ended up having a broken orbital bone. Not sure what else or what other injuries he sustained during it, but it did not sound good. Alvin Kamara played in the Pro Bowl, was arrested shortly after, I believe in the parking lot area or wherever. I don't know, okay? But I know he was arrested after the Pro Bowl, not in the locker room, outside of the arena, basically. He went to jail. He had a hearing. He did get released, I think, on bond. I can't remember the exact price. But it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good at all from what I've kind of pieced together. This is kind of far out there, but he is facing a minimum of 5 years in prison for doing what he did. Assault, And I mean, the dude's an NFL athlete. He's huge. Okay, we understand. Okay, we've seen all these. I'm not even going to bring them up because of all the instances that have happened with NFL players and them just being complete buffoons and not acting the right way per se. I mean, their egos get the best of them. This is just sad to hear from Alvin coming out of the NFL about Alvin Kamara because he's been nothing but awesome to watch. He's been nothing but a great player, probably a great teammate from what I've heard, and it's just sad, right? I mean, you have everything and you give it up for 1 minute of stupidity. Okay, Henry Ruggs had multiple minutes of stupidity. Okay, drove 156 miles an hour, collided with another car, and ending somebody's life. Dumb. Had it all, not anymore. There's multiple people that have done that and just continue to go be complete idiots off the football field. And this is one reason why we better not see another Pro Bowl in Las Vegas. I think it's just it's a cause of it's a place for trouble to happen, basically. Okay, a lot of nightclubs, a lot of gambling, a lot of booze, whatever the hell you're going to be doing out there. There's a lot of stuff that can happen and go wrong. I don't know why the Raiders made the decision to move there. I said it before, and I'll still say it again. I still think that probably might go down as one of the worst moves or relocation process or relocating in NFL history, in my opinion, because I think from now on until they decide to maybe move, I doubt they'll move, but I think we're going to see a lot more NFL people or players getting in trouble, doing the wrong things, making the wrong choices, and I hope that's not the case. But as we have already seen, Alvin Kamara made a wrong choice, multiple Raiders made the wrong choice in Las Vegas, did stupid things, and that pisses me off. Millions and millions and millions of dollars that you have earned is for nothing. And there's multiple people out there who wish they could have the opportunity to be in your shoes and make that much money and set up their family and their kids' future and their grandkids' future and stuff like that. You go out there and you do a dumb thing. I hope Alvin Kamara can kind of figure this out. It was just a night being dumb. We've all been dumb at one point in time. It just sucks that, it has to be a public figure, somebody of his stature or of his, how you say that? You understand what I'm trying to say, hopefully. Okay? It's sad to hear, but hopefully things go well. And I hope he bounces back even better, but I doubt he's going to face any prison time. That's just a minimum 5 years he could be facing. There's probably going to be a huge fine, house arrest, whatever the case is. I don't know, but he's in trouble. We'll kind of continue to piece that together as things kind of move forward. So yesterday we also talked about the head coaches that had been hired. Mike McDaniels got hired to be the Miami Dolphins head coach. Dennis Allen got hired to be the New Orleans Saints coach. He was an in-house hire. He was the interim head coach when Sean Payton stepped out when he had COVID. And I think the players seemed to like him and stuff. But the Houston Texans hired defense coordinator Lovie Smith. We talked about that briefly and talked about how he's basically a 50% winning kind of guy. And it says, Field Yates tweeted that Texans head coach Lovie Smith confirms that he will continue to call the defensive plays this year. I like it. I think, when there's a head coach, obviously you have to kind of be involved in both the offense and the defense. But a lot of the time, you see the head coaches kind of focusing solely on one area. And then when they try to get back into both areas, they kind of fail, right? They just don't do as well as we'd hope they would do. Mike Zimmer, for instance, he was a defensive guy, worked on the defense. We have a really solid defense, or we had a really solid defense. He started trying to focus more on the offense and defense a little bit so he gets the whole grasp of everything. Kind of started going downhill, a lot of 3 and outs, a lot of poor offense, a lot of poor defense because he took his mind off it, I think. I think this is good for the Houston Texans, even though they didn't have the greatest of seasons. They still were not put in the greatest position at all. Deshaun Watson was unavailable. They lost J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins. They have David Johnson back there. They lost Phillip Lindsay. But that defense seemed to be flying around, making plays. Justin Reed as their safety is a solid player. And I think their defense did some good things. Obviously did some bad things as well. But it's the Texans. Okay, we got to continue to move forward, get better, and hopefully be, what the Bengals all of a sudden did in 3 years. They were 2-14, and then they go to I can't remember their record last, 6-10, and then all of a sudden, bam, okay, they're in the Super Bowl. So we could see that type of turnaround. I think Lovie Smith is going to be a good hire. Hopefully he finds a way to win over there. He's going to continue to call the defensive plays. He'll probably hire an offensive coordinator or keep somebody in-house to still call their offensive plays, and hopefully things kind of work themselves out. We'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson, because, again, there's still been no talk on what the fuck's going on. Apparently he was supposed to have his hearing, I believe, this month at some point. Doesn't seem like that's the case. I think they're kind of waiting for the NFL season to kind of get over with, basically, to kind of dive into that a little bit more so the NFL can be there and hear his hearing and kind of make their own decision on what to do with Deshaun Watson, put him on the, they could put him on the commissioner's exempt list, where basically he wouldn't get paid, he wouldn't be able to play, he'd have to kind of file a "this is why I belong in the league" type of thing. Can you reinstate me, please? Probably won't happen if all these allegations are true with a lot of women and stuff like that, and the sexual abuse or whatever it is. I can't remember really off the top of my head what it all entails, but hopefully Lovie Smith does a good job. I think he will. In other news, the Tennessee Titans have done a great job, a phenomenal job the past couple of years, and they have decided to extend both their GM and head coach, their GM being John Robinson and head coach Mike Vrabel. And I am pumped about this. I'm excited about this because the Tennessee Titans have been a playoff contender for the last 3 years, at least, from what I can remember, maybe 4 years, with Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Derek fucking Henry, okay? Their defense has been flying around making plays. This year, they got the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Yes, they lost to the Bengals, who are in the Super Bowl, so you got to think if the Tennessee Titans don't lose that game, they're probably in the Super Bowl as we speak. But that just wasn't the case. It's how the season kind of plays out. Derrick Henry was beat up, didn't play the majority of the season. But this is a good move on them. I'm not really sure the exact numbers on what they how long the extension is at this point. I'm sure those numbers will kind of come within the coming days. But this is a good job on their part. And they kept asking Vrabel, and I think I'm starting to like Vrabel a lot more. He's more of a player's guy. He's more of a, he's going to push you around. He's going to get in your face if you're not doing, what he's telling you to do. He's going to he's going to put a little fire under your butt, all right? He's going to put a little fire under your ass and kind of get you going, get you ready for football. Play 110% every single play, every single down until you hear the whistle, basically. And he kind of went on and said it's never going to be about one person not as long as I'm the head coach, which will be a while. Apparently, so let's see, probably next 4 or 5 years, Mike Vrabel, head coach of the Tennessee Titans. I like it. He said, so it'll never be about one person. And I think I learned that from Will Compton a little bit briefly. I watched Bussin' with the Boys. He was with Pat McAfee the other day, and I kind of watched that, so shout out his show, Bussin' with the Boys. He's got a nice thing working over there. But I think Vrabes is going to do a good job for the Tennessee Titans now. Their next step is kind of figuring out their defense a little bit, because they did start 83 or 80-plus players on their 53-man roster this year due to a lot of injuries. Running back situation wasn't that great with Derrick Henry getting injured early in the season. Julio Jones missed some time. A.J. Brown missed some time because of some food poisoning. Ryan Tannehill's another situation where you got to kind of look at. It seems as if, look, Aaron Rodgers, we talked about this, he bought property in Nashville. Okay, he bought property in Nashville. Everyone's all of a sudden goes right to Aaron Rodgers going to the Tennessee Titans. Watch it. Count it down. Put it down. Rodgers to the Titans. I've said it first. Don't think that's the case, because the Titans came out and said, look, okay, we're not going for Rodgers. Ryan Tannehill's our guy. I like it, but at the same time, are you sure? Because imagine if you had somebody just a tad bit better than Ryan Tannehill, because he didn't have that great of a season. Okay? If you had a guy a little bit better than Ryan Tannehill, I believe you'd be able to be a little bit better. Okay, that 1 seed would turn into a Super Bowl, basically, is how I look at it. Okay, you got Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. How can you mess that up? Okay, you just got to figure out your tight end maybe. The offensive line's maybe a little shaky. I'm really unsure. But at the same time, they did get the number 1 seed, so they're headed in a perfect direction. Hopefully they don't, miss the playoffs next year. So congratulations to Tennessee Titans, GM John Robinson, and head coach Mike Vrabel on the contract extensions. We'll see you guys next year because Super Bowl. All right, this week, how you doing? Keep it moving. And finally, let's dive in to the world of fucking Kyler Murray. Oh, hold up. Before we get to Kyler Murray, so yesterday we talked about the Pro Bowl and how shitty it was because it was god-awful. It was embarrassing to watch. And apparently I wasn't the only person to think that. Because per at my sports update, or Ari Mirov, I hope I'm saying that right, he tweeted and he said, Sunday's Pro Bowl drew 6.69 million viewers across all platforms, marking the smallest audience for the game since 2006. 16 years. Still big number for a game everyone complains about, but down from recent years. Will be interesting to see if the league considers some changes, and they fucking better. Because that was dog shit. That was absolute doggy doo-doo to watch. Embarrassing for the league, embarrassing for fans, and just to watch and witness. Like, why do you want to waste a Sunday watching a bunch of grown men play two-hand touch football? If you're going to do that, switch to flag football, make it a little bit more enticing, put more money online, or we just get the Pro Bowl out of there, okay, and have a whole weekend of a skills showdown with all the Pro Bowlers involved, offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, tight ends, quarterback, you get it. Everybody involved in a skills showdown, multiple games, multiple stuff to do. I think that would be a lot better for the fans, for the players. They probably won't worry about getting hurt as much because dodgeball, they put more effort into dodgeball, it looked like, okay, than they did the goddamn game. That was it was embarrassing to watch. But Kyler Murray, seen this last night, don't really know what to think about it, but Kyler Murray's Instagram looks a little bare at this point. Deleted every single one of his posts except for two. One with him in an Oklahoma Sooner uniform, and the other, I believe, was with him at the Pro Bowl. I think it was CeeDee Lamb right behind him. I am not 100% on who was actually standing behind him, but there's two posts. Unfollowed the Arizona Cardinals. What's going on? We've seen this in the past. Julio Jones pulled this with the Falcons. Took him a couple of years to get traded, but is Kyler Murray on the move? I'm not really sure. Had a great season, had a great start to the season, 7-0, I believe, and then they lost to the Green Bay Packers, like I called 2 weeks prior, okay? Thank you. Do your curtsy. You know how I did that? Do your little curtsy thingamajig. But why? Why did he unfollow him? I'm really unsure. Maybe he just wants to kind of knock out all the nonsense. The dude got drafted in the MLB draft by the Oakland Athletics, got drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, chose football over baseball. He's a professional gamer with FaZe Clan. For you guys that don't know who FaZe Clan is, it's an up-and-coming esports professional gaming crew, basically group, if you will, made up of multiple players and them doing their own thing and playing different games and having a grand old time. It's fucking chair. Jeez Louise. It's like, I don't know. I think the arms are just too close to the fucking table, so it just bugs me every once in a while. But Kyler Murray, where's he going to go? He unfollowed the Arizona Cardinals. That must mean something. That must mean he kind of wants out. The quarterback market is a massive market this year. And I don't know why he'd want to leave with Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, Zach Ertz, Max Williams. I mean, that offense is explosive, and I think we've seen that. A lot of them were hurt this season. Why would he want to go? Well, a lot of people are saying Tampa Bay. Tom Brady retired. Okay, they got Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's on is a free agent. They got some weapons over there. I don't really know how many. They got Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson. I think Leonard Fournette's also a free agent, or Ronald Jones is a free agent, I believe. One of the two. Leonard Fournette might still be there. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers look like a good destination. Kyler Murray, he's from Texas, so I mean, a little closer maybe. I don't know. Arizona's still a fucking warm state, so I really don't know what kind of piece about this or you know how to piece this together, because it's kind of one of those like, what's going on? You know, like, why'd you do this? Because as soon as I seen that, oh, he deleted all of his pictures. What does this see, or what does this look like? And I was like, well, cleaning up. He's cleaning up house. He's cleaning house. What the hell? He wants to get rid of all of his pictures, start anew. But he also unfollowed the Cardinals. And when I seen that, I was like, why? Like, what is going to actually happen here? I'm really unsure. There's a lot of teams going to be in the open market ready for a new quarterback. Hell, if the Raiders could move on from Derek Carr, that'd be interesting. The Buccaneers, the Steelers need a new quarterback. Green Bay Packers could be looking for a new quarterback. The Denver Broncos could be looking for a new quarterback. Carolina Panthers. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on. And I think Kyler Murray kind of wants to find a new home. That's what I'm thinking. But at the same time, hey, I don't know anything, apparently. Because this could be all a bunch of fugazi and he's just playing with everybody. Kind of being like, keeping his name in the news. Like, hey, don't forget about me. But who knows what's kind of going to happen here. He's a great football player. He's fast as shit. He knows how to play the ball, play the game at a high level. He was a Pro Bowler, okay? This guy's going to do great things wherever he is, whether that's in Arizona or some other location. But with that being said, basically that's kind of all I have for you guys today. Tomorrow is kind of up in the air. I think I'll be back here tomorrow, actually. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, like always, Facebook and YouTube, to bring you guys more information on the NFL and what the hell is kind of happening. We'll probably talk about the NFL awards ceremony. I think that's taking place Thursday. Not really sure the time at this point. Didn't look that up, but I should have. That's on me. But I think the awards ceremony is definitely Thursday, where they hand out the MVP, Coach of the Year, stuff like that. You guys kind of understand that. So we'll talk about that a little bit and dive into the world of football basically tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for joining, whether that's on Facebook or YouTube. If you're on Facebook, like and hit that share. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It would be much appreciated. So have a great one. Be safe out there. Enjoy the nice weather as long as it lasts, okay? Because we know with warm weather comes a storm, at least from what I've seen and what I've experienced. Probably what's going to happen. So stay safe, have fun, and do whatever the hell you guys want to do, because it's not up to me. So have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time, like always. And you just got your fix. What a Wicks. Have a great one, folks.